Hi, guys, and welcome to Webb Insurance first webinar that we're doing. Why did my insurance rate increase? I know, unveiling the factors behind your premiums. It is an interesting topic, especially in today's market and economy, to be talking to you specifically today about why my insurance rate increased. What happened? What's going on with the insurance markets? How are we going to deal with this? How can we offset some of these costs and increase that are going on right now in our insurance? A lot of those questions will be answered in this webinar. And I have got Scott Taylor with me here today, who's our vice president, and we'll do a quick introduction in just a second. But Scott, before we get into your background and your bio, why did we choose to do our first webinar on why did my insurance rate increase?
I would say first and foremost, it's a pain point for the consumer.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed it in my own premiums.
That's what we're dealing with on a daily basis is why are my insurance rates high? Why have they increased so much?
Has Webb Insurance, have we gotten a lot of phone calls and people asking questions about this?
Absolutely. We take a proactive approach to our renewals and review those 30 days ahead of time for personal insurance, so auto and home. On the commercial insurance side, we're reviewing our renewals closer to 45 days out. I mean, we start at 90 days, but renewals come in around 45 days. So we can then see 45 to 30 days. So we can then see and compare what their current rate is with the renewal rate. So yes, awesome. We're looking at this on a weekly basis. The account managers are looking at it on a daily basis.
Awesome. Well, if you're tuning in right now, I just wanted to, for those that are watching on the replay and for those of you that are catching this and just tuning in right now, we're talking why did my insurance rate increase, unveiling the factors behind your premium. And so we wanted to take a second and explain kind of what's going on in the insurance markets and how can I personally, because I had some of these questions as well, how can I personally ensure that I'm getting the best price for my insurance? And I think that's a question that we all have. Webb Insurance is really broken down into three different organizations. There's two different sister companies that work in the same office with Webb Insurance. So we have Webb Insurance, it's the property and casualty. Then we also have St. Charles Financial, and we also have St. Charles Elder Care Associates. St. Charles Financial is financial planning. And St. Charles Elder Care Associates is to work with Medicare advantages and supplements. So we actually have three different companies all under one umbrella. Scott, what is the purpose of working with the three different companies all under one umbrella?
It differentiates us from any other insurance agency in that we have team members that specialize in other areas. So if we've got a auto and homeowners insurance client that brings up or finds out that we have a financial services company, sees on our website that we're associated with St. Charles Financial Services, and wants to learn more about that, we can then introduce that client to someone at one of the advisors at St. Charles Financial Services, as well as with the elder care. We've got an older client or children of an older client that want to find out more about, what are the next steps? What steps should I be taking for my parents? Or, hey, I have questions about what to do. My mom and dad aren't able to stay in their home any longer. What should we do? There's resources there, and we can introduce them to one of the elder care associates for some guidance.
For sure. Now, I'm sure everybody's curious, Scott. This is the first webinar that we've done, and I'm not so sure that everybody in our network and that works within all of our clients kind of understand your professional background and why our organization is so innovative and why we're so good at what we do. And I have to attribute a lot of that to some of your background and your work. Would you mind kind of sharing with everybody? I mean, we were having this conversation the other day. I was blown away by your background.
Sure. So I've been in the insurance industry for, this year is 31 years. I've been in. I started out as an agent, became a manager. I've been a sales manager, and currently am managing Webb Insurance, overseeing and managing Webb Insurance and our staff to maintain and grow the agency. Again, as I said, I've worked in different capacities. I've been an agent, I've been a manager and a sales manager, and so I continue to sell insurance along with oversee, the daily ins and outs of our business to assist our team in being able to manage our accounts.
Yeah, I mean, 25 years in the insurance industry, I'm sure you've seen a thing or two, Scott, that has happened. Anything in your 25 years experience that you can think of just real quick for the audience that was kind of a unique situation in insurance that most people would not be familiar with?
I would say right now is probably one of the most um, head scratching times, if you will, uh, that I've been through. In 2001 and 2003, we had in the St. Louis area, we had some of the worst hailstorms uh, that we had seen in decades, and in a decade. And and that caused homeowners and auto rates to increase. Right now, the rates are just unbelievable in comparison to what they've been in the past.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're tuning in and you're watching and you're saying, well, I'm in commercial insurance. I don't know that, I have commercial business owner policies with you guys. I have equipment policies with you guys. Is this webinar for me? Is this going to help me at all? Should I even consider, listening to the rest of this? I'm going to just for 1 second, I want to speak directly to you because yes, there's a lot of information that's going to come through in this webinar that's going to help you understand rate increases in insurance and what to do to protect yourself to get your rates to the most affordable prices moving forward. So there's some tools and techniques and tips over Scott's 25 years of experience that you'll be able to specifically take away if you're in commercial insurance. And if you're in personal insurance, a lot of this stuff is going to directly apply to you as well, because a lot of you in the personal insurance with homeowners and umbrellas and the auto insurance have been calling into our organization asking about why did my rate increase. So we want to make sure that we get that out there and explain it to you and what you can specifically do about it. So here we go. Let me get this back up here and we'll move right on with it. So before we get into those rate conversation though, I do want to share some information from some clients. If you're new and you've never met Webb Insurance before, it's good to know kind of what we do. And then after we get through this little bit of information, it's a little commercial for you. We're going to make sure that you get all the information about why your insurance rate increases. But Valentine had this to say: I recently subscribed my home insurance with Webb Insurance. They have a wonderful service. Everything was clear and easy. They'll do their best to help you. I strongly recommend Webb Insurance. And Carrie had this to say. She says, I've worked with Scott Taylor and Webb Insurance for over 10 years. Now, granted, Scott's been doing this for 25. Carrie's been with us a long time. She says, our experience with the Webb Insurance team has always been first rate. They work to help keep our insurance costs low as possible and handle our claims expeditiously and keep the lines of communication open and timely. I don't know that you see that too often with insurance brokers anymore today. I mean, people actually take part in handling your claims and helping you through that process. Pretty much they just turn you over to the carrier. Our organization does something just a little bit different to help you out. And Carrie, that's one of the reasons why she wrote this wonderful testimonial about us. She said, Webb Insurance has great products, great rates, and great customer service. So if you're wondering, what separates us apart, I think not only is it our great rates, but it's also that customer service that Carrie talked about. John had this to say. He's been a customer since 2009. One of our personalized agents, Tammy, is the best agent I've ever had for insurance. And not to mention, she's a longtime friend. When I needed something, she's always willing to help me out the best of her ability. I had a recent minor accident, and she took right over and took care of what I needed. In a matter of minutes, I had a claim put in. A representative from Uri called me, as well as the rental that they needed, and an appointment booked for the body shop. This was all done within 24-hour period. I would recommend Webb Insurance and Tammy to anyone who needed insurance. So good job, Tammy, by the way, if you're listening. Outside of that, this is what we do, guys. This is what makes us different. This is why you choose Webb Insurance. This is also why, if you haven't chosen Webb Insurance, why you probably want to. In addition to that, I've got another one here from Joseph and Sandy since 2015. Continues to be a customer. Left this as a review. We've been helpful in you've been helpful in every way. When I call, you're always very pleasant too. Thank you. So it's not just about being, a great rates and great insurance. It's also about being helpful and being pleasant to talk to and great people to work with. Here's one last one. Our company has been working with Webb Insurance for many years now with general liability, health, term policies that we have had for over 10 years now. They are quick to respond with a phone call or an email to any question or concern we may have. We look forward to many more years of their service. This is Linda with HDL Service and Construction in March 15 of 2023. Guys, it continues to be great service that we provide for people over and over and over again. And so if you're wondering, I have business insurance. Can I come to Webb Insurance? I need workers' comp insurance. I need auto, umbrella. We do this across the board for all types of insurances, making sure that you're taken care of. One of the things that makes us unique, though, is the fact that we have these sister companies, and we look at things through these sister companies' eyes as well. And one of the sister companies introduced this concept to us called wealth transfers and paying attention to wealth transfers. And for one quick second, I'm just going to pop this up here so that everybody can see. Wealth transfers are something that's important and you need to know about. See, wealth transfers refer to the movement of assets. That's money. That's cash. The movement of assets or financial value from one entity to another entity. And so often when you're looking at wealth transfers, what you're looking at is moving how money transfers from one financial institution, a government, to one financial institution, a government, or other entities. So a lot of things can be considered a wealth transfer, but there's two main types of wealth transfers that you need to be aware of. There is the unknown wealth transfer. These are the ones that are unknowingly to you, you're transferring money away. Like you can see insurance prices if they've come up, if your rate does increase, you can see that coming up. The real challenge is the unknown wealth transfers that you don't know that are happening behind the scenes. And then there's another, which are the known wealth transfers. So these are important, all right? There's actually 7 different wealth transfers to pay attention to, starting with the first wealth transfer being taxes, the second wealth transfer being inflation, the third wealth transfer being market fluctuations, the fourth wealth transfer being fees and expenses that you unknowingly had to pay, the fifth wealth transfer being debt and interest payments, 6 being unexpected life events, and the 7th being just paying for things in general, taking money out of your pocket and paying other people for those things. Scott, when we talk about wealth transfers, what does Webb Insurance do to help protect people against wealth transfers and loss of assets and loss of liquidity use and control of their money?
So I would start by saying part of our responsibility when we take on a new client, we're talking with a prospect, is we're evaluating what their current coverage is and pointing out things that we see that where there may be a deficiency. Then we're providing not only quotes but some consultation. For existing clients, we review our renewals, as I said earlier, on a monthly basis. We do that to help the client. We look at what their current rates are, and then look at what the renewal is. And then we look at what our options are by quoting with other insurance carriers to find the most competitive program that we can for the client. And that's not just coverage, but or not just price, that's covered as well. We're not going to shortchange someone or to save them some money. But so our proactive approach is what we do to help clients keep from, overspending. I shouldn't say overspending, being overcharged for the insurance. By being an independent agent, we have multiple companies that we work with. So we're able to do that versus a captive agent, which is one that only has, one product to be able to sell or one company to be able to sell. That's what sets us apart. That's what helps us to help our clients.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is one of the things that we do is that we help offset these wealth transfers because we're proactive in the approach to making sure that you're getting the best rate every single year when we remarket those insurance premiums to make sure that you're getting the most affordable prices available for the right coverage for you to make sure that the protection's in place that if you do have an issue, you also don't lose the farm, you don't lose the house, you don't lose the cars, you don't lose the wealth that you've accumulated over a period of time. All right. That's just a short explanation of wealth transfers. We got many more of those to come in upcoming webinars. If that's a topic that's interesting to you, make sure you share in the comments. You share this out and you explain that there's some interesting information about wealth transfer. All right, guys, we're going to continue moving on, and we're going to talk about the information that you came here to talk about today. So, Scott, I'm just going to ask you directly: why is insurance rates increasing?
There's a number of factors, and I'll start with inflation. Automobiles are a lot more expensive today than they were 5 years ago. Used automobiles are more expensive now than they were several years ago. The parts to fix a vehicle, should it be involved in an accident, are more expensive. The delays by the body shop, the delays in getting the parts to repair a vehicle causes extra time to be in the shop, which there's a monetary value for time in a shop and working on a vehicle. So automobiles, the prices of them, the prices of the parts. In addition to that, on the auto side, I'll continue with that. We have probably the worst distracted driving, the worst number of people that are distracted when they're driving now than we've had. There are more accidents now with multi-vehicle accidents. I personally have had 3 clients this year that have been involved in multiple vehicle accidents, being stopped at a stoplight, and 3 cars deep, a truck not paying attention slams into the other vehicles, which causes a chain reaction. So that claim that, if it was a 2-car accident, it turns into a 4-car accident, the price of that claim just doubled. So there's that, the cost of the vehicles, there's the cost of the claims. Then in insurance, the insurance companies for claims, they look at frequency as well as severity. So the number of claims that are being turned in, as well as the price for those. I just read an article recently saying that in the industry, the loss ratio is in the 70%, up in the 70% range now.
Holy cow!
So that's high.
Yeah.
So in order for these companies to remain competitive, this is what they say, for them to remain competitive and be able to offer the products, they're increasing their rates.
And that's in the auto insurance. But what about,
yes.
let's say I own some rental properties and I have some coverage for those rentals through, my insurance carrier right now. Why would my insurance carrier on these rental properties then be raising my insurance rate?
So let's talk about property. Property for both personal insurance, so that meaning your home or your rental property that you own, your commercial building that you own. When it comes to losses, if you've gone to Lowe's or Home Depot to buy a 2x4 now versus what it was 4 years ago, you know that price has escalated significantly. So material and labor rates have skyrocketed. So those claims, again, they look at frequency and severity, and the claims, the cost of the claims have gone up. So in turn, the insurance carriers are increasing rates to remain profitable and to be able to provide product.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different factors that ultimately help determine why rates increase. Here are some common ones for you guys. So, claims history and frequency, changes in coverage or policy features that you're looking for, market trends and economic factors, losses within the insurance industry. Oops. Uh, and Scott, when we were talking beforehand, there was a number of other things that we were talking about that affect increases in insurance rates. I know right now that if you look at, like, for instance, cyber coverage. I know that there is more claims that are happening, whether it's your claim or somebody else's claim. I know there's more claims of identity theft that are going on right now. I know that there's workers' comp, people being injured because people are short staffed and being overworked. Like, there's a lot of different stuff that's happening just in the claims aspect that we were talking about. What are some other reasons that the insurance rates are going up, maybe from a commercial standpoint, or even in personal umbrellas? Like, I've noticed that some of the umbrella policies have come up. So what is that?
So in the commercial field, you're looking at the same, the same types of things. You've got auto and you've got property, you've got general liability. So claims in any of those areas, or claims in those areas, um, because of the amount, because of the cost, it's causing uh, pause for these companies to step back and take a look at what their profitability is, and they need to adjust they are adjusting rates based upon these claims and what their overall loss ratio is. When this all started with the increase in costs several years ago, um, most of these companies didn't take a knee-jerk reaction to it. They did not automatically increase rates by 20%. However, as time's gone by and we continue to have, they continue to have losses and they continue to pay claims, it's eating into the profit. So
Yeah.
that's a big part of it. Is just, again, it's the frequency and the severity of claims, things that are out of their control.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people are thinking, okay, so if you're on this webinar, you're watching it on replay, you're probably thinking, you guys are just telling me some stuff that I already know. I already know that the price has gone up. But what we're trying to help you understand is the underlying costs to do these things have come up. And so what this also means is that your coverage is unknowingly increasing to you as well during this process, right? Because if you used to get $100,000 in coverage for something, and now the price of that thing is now 200,000 to replace it, you've unbeknownst to yourself increased the amount of coverage that's happening by the rate increase that's also going along with it. I don't know if I'm saying that very accurately, Scott. Can you kind of explain what I mean by that, about how things, as inflation is increasing on these different things, their coverage is actually it's actually increasing along with it. Remember when we were talking about that?
Yes. So with property, whether it's business or if it's personal, um, property is based upon, or the coverage for a property is based upon the replacement cost. And in order to have a replacement cost policy, a person has to insure their property 100%, or a business has to insure 100% to replacement. Otherwise, they have a little bit of a penalty there, a co-insurance there on the commercial line side. But with personal lines, your home, you have to insure it 100% to value. So there are software programs where we plug in the information, the home, the year that the home was built, or the business, or the property was built, what the square footage is, what the particulars are of the property, and then that software program will generate a reconstruction cost estimate. Um, we're seeing property values increasing a considerable amount. We've seen them, on the commercial side, we've seen them go up $400,000. We've seen them go up $100,000. On the personal line side, we're seeing most recently, just looking at one with one of the account managers yesterday, $100,000 in coverage increase. And it's based upon what the reconstruction is. In the event of a loss, if you want your property replaced, then you need to have the appropriate coverage. And these carriers are being pretty strict on what they're allowing for the replacement cost. There are times when you can talk with a company about the reconstruction cost to reduce that, but not always. But that's also one of the great parts about being an independent agent is we have multiple companies. We do have a little bit better relationship. I shouldn't say better relationship, but because we partner with these carriers and we're not employees of these carriers, we're actually able to work with them to get things done.
I mean, that makes sense. And one of the things that we've noticed just in the insurance industry, guys, if you're just now tuning in, we're talking about why did my insurance rate increase? One of the things I've noticed in the insurance industry is that it's getting harder and harder to get somebody on the phone with the carriers. I mean, our internal staff spends hours sometimes trying to get a hold of a specific carrier to deal with a specific claim. And that's hours that our clients aren't spending on the phone. That's hours that we're spending on the phone for the client on their behalf in order to try to get information through to a carrier. And so if the carriers are having difficulty hiring people and they're having to increase people's pay in order to get them to work for them, and you're also dealing with the coverage costs increasing and the cost of the insurance. Guys, when the cost of things come up, then the cost to the consumer also eventually has to come up. And it's not done to hurt you, it's done to help you, because if there's not enough resources in the insurance pool, then when you go to file a claim, like, look, you don't want your insurance company to go bankrupt.
Right.
Let that sit in for a second. You do not want your insurance company to go bankrupt. You've been paying premiums to this insurance company. You want them to be healthy and solvent. You want them to be able to pay out the claim whenever it comes time. Now, do you always get the claim paid exactly the way that you want it, Scott? Tell me a little bit about how insurance companies have adjusted the way they've handled claims over the years so we can just get it out there and talk about it.
Sure. So, talking with a client recently and talking about when it comes time for a claim, the adjuster's looking for ways not to pay. And, their job is to look at minimizing the amount that they're paying out for this claim. That's part of their job. The part of our job is to help to educate and let the client know that we're there for them. If something comes up and they don't think it's right, we can be an advocate for the client. So, but anyway, talking about.
So tell me about a time though, Scott, because we do this all the time. Tell me about a time where the client wasn't going to get what they needed, and we helped them to be able to help salvage some of their loss that they weren't probably going to get unless we got involved.
Just happened. Been a claim was filed about a year ago. The company has gone back and forth asking for different information. The information's been provided. The adjuster had not been in communication with the client. So there's a lot of things that were not being done in a timely manner. Then as the claim proceeded, the insurance company was still slow to respond. So I was able, because we partner with these carriers, I was able to get involved with a supervisor. I reached out to a supervisor because it didn't seem like we were getting anywhere. The client was being frustrated. The house, it was on a rental property, and the house was not livable the way that it was because basically a tree fell on about half of the house. So we ended up getting in contact with a supervisor to get the thing moving forward, and we were able to come to an agreement on what needed to be paid, and at this point the claim is being settled. But it's one of those situations that is unfortunate for the client, unfortunate for the supervisor as well, because the supervisor had to get involved in this where the adjuster should have been the one to take care of it. We've had other claims where in the middle of a claim, the client reached out to us because that's what we tell our clients to do. Let us know, keep us informed. Let us know if it's going well or if it's going bad. If you need some assistance, let us know. There was an adjuster that just quit working for the company, and the insurance company didn't know it. So our client had not been contacted by the adjuster in weeks. So we reached back out to the carrier to find out what's going on. Anyway, that's an example of how we can help.
Yeah. It's one of those things where we're helping the client to protect against wealth transfers, unknowing wealth transfers that they would have had to just losses, that we were able to jump in, help, and either resolve some dispute over the claim or move the claim along forward, that they weren't getting reimbursement. That's every day that you don't have the cash that you need in order to repair that item, especially in a rental property and everything else, you're losing money. And so we got to, the faster that you get us involved, the more likely we are to help you to be able to move these things forward and to deal with the issues that you have had. So I want you to also understand that while other organizations in this industry, in the insurance industry, have been looking ways to automate and downsource and not put forth all of the effort to you, the client, one of the unique benefits of Webb Insurance that makes us different is we're client focused, we're people focused. We hire the amount of staff to handle the calls, to be able to deal with the conversation that you're needing to have in order to move these things forward, and then also help you resolve those issues as we go forward. So these are important things for you to just keep in mind. So people, Scott, might be wondering, what do we do about the rise in income? What are some things that we can do for cost? So the first tip that we have here is review and compare insurance policies regularly. Tell us a little bit about that.
So per our conversation in previous times, at previous times in earlier in this this webinar, we do that for you. We do that for the client. We review and compare their insurance. We have multiple companies, multiple carriers that we work with. So as I said, when we're looking at clients' renewals as they come up, if they've taken an increase, we review to make sure that they've got the most comprehensive and cost-effective program that we have available.
We also want to make sure that when we review those policies on a regular basis, that they're still meeting their coverage needs too. We want to take the time to ensure that they have all the appropriate coverages that they need. And then, like Scott's talking about, we compare quotes from different insurance providers to find the best rates and coverage options that are available for you. So that's when you're talking about comprehensive review of those policies, that's part of reviewing those wealth transfers, looking at all of the needs that you have as a client and not just the need that you called in for immediately. So we'll get that coverage in place, but we want to make sure that all needs are protected on an annual basis. And so that's why we're going to take a look at that stuff. The second thing here is the second tip is to maintain a good claims history. Scott, you talked a little bit about distracted driving. What are some other ways that people can maintain a good claims history? Is, I know, not being distracted on the phone. What else?
Sometimes over in my career, I've seen times when a client has had an accident and or had somebody that has inquired about an accident. And I'm speaking there about commercial insurance. Their vehicle's driving down the highway and a rock or something fell off the truck and hit their windshield. And so that claimant calls the customer and says, I have a broken windshield. Well, looking at that and evaluating that and determining whether or not that's a claim that they can handle on their own or they should turn it into the insurance company is something that is a good idea. The other thing is, on personal insurance, I backed into this post and I've got some damage to my bumper. Should we automatically turn that claim in, or should we go and get an estimate first to determine, hey, I've got a $1,000 deductible. The damage is $1,100. Is it worth it for me to turn in a claim for $100? Probably not. So I guess assessing what the loss is And I'm talking about auto right now, but I mean, same goes with the home. If you've got damage to your guttering due to, I don't know, you were on your roof and uh, or near the roof, uh, cleaning some windows and you damaged your somehow or another your notice that uh, your guttering was damaged, and what's that going to cost? I would just say do your due diligence first, check on it, get an estimate, determine whether it, how much are you going to have to pay for that out of pocket.
For sure, and get us involved quickly. Let us have that conversation with you to see if that's something that we can help you with. So here's another way to maintain insurance costs. So a lot of people think that, well, I have my auto insurance with Webb Insurance, or I have a workers' comp policy with Webb Insurance. But what they don't know is that by actually bundling multiple policies instead of trying to go through multiple carriers, you can actually significantly reduce some of your costs in insurance. Scott, why don't you talk a little bit about that? Because you know a lot about bundling. It's not just a commercial on TV, it's a real thing.
Right. We look at it this way. Our first approach is to bundle because there can be significant discounts for having multi-policy discounts. However, being independent, having multiple companies that we work with, allows us to put together a program that is a la carte per se. But to talk to talk more about the bundling piece of it, yes, there's significant discounts for having multiple policies.
I mean, one of our insurance carriers actually, you can actually get a reduction in your auto insurance more than the cost of a life insurance policy in some cases. Didn't I hear that correctly?
So we've got an insurance company that if you can purchase a life insurance policy from them, and basically the savings from having that additional policy can offset the cost of that life insurance policy. So it's an added benefit for no extra dollars or very few extra dollars.
I mean, I've never heard of that before until I started working with you here, Scott, at Webb Insurance. That was a very unique bundle that insurance carrier had in place that I had never heard about before. So bundling can not only save you money, but it also streamlines your coverage management. If you have all these different carriers that or independents that you're trying to work with, they only have a couple of different options when your insurance rates increase, right? So what do they typically do, Scott? If I'm an independent carrier, I'm a direct writer through an organization, I'm not a broker like you guys. What are my options if if my company takes a rate increase?
Right. So if you're a captive agent, meaning that you're working for XYZ company, when it comes time for these rate increases, we're seeing not your normal 10 to 15% now. It's 16 to 40% is what we're seeing. But if I'm coming to you, Nathan, and you're working for XYZ company, and that's the only company that you represent, and I say, hey, my rates have increased, what can you do for me? The only thing you're going to be able to do for me is, one, reduce coverage. Well, I should say reduce coverage, and because reducing coverage could mean reducing the amount of coverage that you have that I have on my properties or my autos, or increasing my deductible. That's the options that we have, or remove coverages. So overall, though, it's a reduction in coverage. That's the only option that a captive agent has. They don't have another company that they can shop your insurance with or move your insurance to.
And so what makes Webb Insurance so unique in that standpoint then?
We have multiple companies that we work with on a regular basis. Again, we partner with these carriers to be able to provide the most competitive, or I should say comprehensive and competitive program for our clients. And if we have you with one company, because of losses, they've taken a bigger increase than another company, or any of our other companies. We can shop it. We can look to see who's the most competitive for you and your situation.
Awesome. Well, that's not the only tip that we have for you guys today. So we also have a tip here seeking guidance from an insurance professional. Seeking guidance from an insurance professional. How about seeking guidance from a long-term, long-standing company that has got a great understanding and been in business for a long time, that understands how to navigate these rate increases and rate hikes? It, it just, Webb Insurance does it differently, guys. They just do it differently. And so I think it's important, if you're wondering what you can do about these rate increases, make sure you get the right guidance. Work with an experienced insurance professional who can assist you with your specific needs and guide you through the insurance landscape. They can help you understand your potential options and identify potential cost savings opportunities to ensure you have adequate coverage. I hope, Scott, that out of this webinar, a lot of people can understand that if things are not going to be um, reducing in cost, things are going to go up in cost because of inflation. Things are going to go up in cost because of the general cost it takes to run a business and the whole 9 yards now. Then I hope they can see that Webb Insurance takes the time to mitigate their risk. Do you have any final things that you want to talk about in regards to insurance rate increases with some of the people tuning in?
I would just say that it is a pain point. We have conversations about this on a weekly basis. Our people are here to help. Please keep that in mind when you're looking at this. We're happy to help. We have more to offer, I'd say more options for you, for a client, for a prospect. Let us, give us an opportunity to help you.
Perfect. Perfect. So, referral program. Why do people refer us business? Why do they do it on a regular basis, Scott?
I would say because the people that refer business to us have had a great experience, have had a good experience or a great experience with us, or we've helped them through something that they've never been helped through before. For instance, a claim that's difficult, where they don't know what to do or where to turn. We've been there for them, and we're helping them through the process. Not only that, it's our program, it's our process. It's the proactive approach that we take to the insurance. We're not just writing a policy for someone and then sitting back on the sidelines waiting for them to call us, or we're actually monitoring what's happening with their program, with their insurance on a yearly basis. So the referrals that come to us are from people that know, like, and trust us. It's from people that are existing clients that have been happy with our service. So there's a number of reasons for the referrals, but typically it's just the way we've treated people, and they like the way we work.
It's one of the unique things that I found about Webb Insurance whenever I started working with you guys, and that's at Webb Insurance, you guys highly value your referrals, and they're a testament to the quality of service that Webb Insurance provides to all of our clients. And the referral program that we have in place is to express our gratitude and support for when you refer your friends, family, and business associates to us. It's really important to understand too, when you refer business to Webb Insurance, it benefits you directly. The more people we have in the insurance pools that we write, the more that those companies have resources to pay those claims and to stay in business and to be profitable long term. Profit's not a 4-letter word. It's not a nasty word to say. I know a lot of people in America might have a problem with the word profit and business making profits, but the profit that an organization makes, the ability to be able to maintain and stay in business is what has their ability to pay your claim whenever those times come. And if you work with a broker like Webb Insurance, like us, and if you decided to give us your business or pass referrals to us, know that we help you through that process if the unforeseen event ever happens, to make sure that you at least have some type of person that has an inside contact within the insurance company that can have those conversations, because we do partner with our insurance carriers. We really do. And that's what makes us truly unique and truly different. And it also, that remarketing of those insurances every single year, make sure that the business that we're writing and placing, we're also placing you and your referral in the most affordable opportunity to make sure that we don't have these large spikes in your insurance. So we do remarket those things annually. I also would say this. If you want to participate in a referral, Scott, how does somebody send you a referral? How do you typically, what can they do in order to get you the contact information or a
They can,
company?
so that they can reach out to anyone here. They can reach out to me directly. Many times, I'll get a text message from a client saying, "Hey, I referred you to so and so. They're going to be they're going to get in contact with you." When we're if it's one of the account managers, looking at either emailing them, calling them, we're happy to talk in any capacity, whether it be a phone call or an email or a text message. But it's whatever is the easiest for the client or the prospect.
For sure. You can also direct the client to www.webbinsurance.com. That's webbinsurance.com. And they can put in their information right online. Just have them make sure that they reference you so that we know who sent them to us, and we can come back and make sure that we express our gratitude to you in the right way. Just like I want to express our gratitude for taking the time to be on the webinar today. I mean, what a great thing that you guys got to learn all about the insurance industry from a 25-year plus industry insurance professional expert who could share with you what makes Webb Insurance and what makes our brokerage so different in the way that we handle things. I hope you now have a better understanding of what's going on with rate increases. I hope you actually have a better understanding of what you can do right now to protect yourself. If you're wondering, what else can I do? What are the next steps that you could take? We've kind of got a 10-step process. I've got it consolidated down here on the screen to you for 5. But right now, we've already gotten to know you. So if you have a specific question, reach out to us. That's the step that we're at right now. If you have a question about insurance or you watch this webinar on replay and you have a question, reach out to our organization. The phone number here, you can always call us at 636-946-0001. That's 636-946-0001. And get in contact with one of our agents and let them answer any questions that you have. Then after we go through that process, you can see the rest of the steps on the screen there. We want to make sure we do a thorough, comprehensive review of the insurance that you are asking about and the ones that you might not have asked about. So if we ask you some questions about things that you're like, what does it have to do with the auto policy that you're calling in for? We're probably looking at ways to save you additional money and to offset and avoid some of those wealth transfers that are going on that we talked about earlier. And lastly, if you could do us a bit of favor, if you've watched this, whether you're on right now or you've watched this on replay, yes, I'm talking to you if you watch this on replay, please do me a favor, pull out your cell phone and scan that QR code or go to tinyurl.com/Webb Insurance, tinyurl.com/Webb Insurance. This will take you to a page to do a survey for this webinar. I want to make sure that you're getting the information that you're looking for. As we do these webinars, I'm sure that there's questions that you currently have. You're like, why didn't you guys talk about this today? Or I want to know about this, or how should I handle this in my insurance needs? Fill out the survey, give us some feedback and information, and we will be able to help you be able to better navigate the insurance questions that you have. I think these webinars are not only here for us to make sure that we get more business, because that's always what you're looking for as a business, is to grow and to be beneficial, but it's here for you. It's here for you. It's here to be educational for you, operational for you, and to help answer a lot of the questions that you've had about your insurance that you just don't get anywhere else. Where can anybody else get this information? There's not even this type of industry inside information that you could go online and research right now. You could see some brushed up, cleaned up, written article that's maybe online from an insurance carrier, but who's willing to get online, face you face to face, and have this conversation? Well, that's the gentleman sitting right here, Scott. Scott, any final words for the audience and the people watching?
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it and enjoyed sharing a little bit of information.
Awesome. Well, you guys take care. Until next time, we'll try to do another one of these coming up soon. So check your emails out. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.